it's the Truex deal. I'm kind of along the lines of it doesn't change my mind on him. And Christopher Bell, I'm not trying to get up to him, but if I am able to for place differential, then I will.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see that ever get back until we get qualifying and practice left. Like, I just think his price, he's got upside, don't get me wrong. When he finishes up there, there is that elite place differential that is there, but I just, I'm just not seeing it completely. So, but moving on, who are some picks that you have down kind of maybe Blaney, I wanted to mention Blaney. You talked about him, so I broke things down. I went back into my track type history and I looked at the track type history not just since the start of last year, which is on the sheet, but I wanted to look at it a little bit more in terms of since the return of racing, because we've had 6 races on intermediate tracks since the return. Blaney has been hot fire. In terms of average finish since the break on the mile-and-a-half tracks, you got Hamlin and Kozlowski 7.3, Truex and Harvick at 7.8, and then Blaney's right there at 8.5. So his last finishes were third, fourth, and third and fourth. So 4 straight top fives: Charlotte, Atlanta, and Homestead. So I'm with you there. The other guy I wanted to ask you about, he seems to be priced kind of odd, I guess you'd say, in terms of how he's been in form and how he's been just overall, is Kurt Busch. He's got a 9.0 average finish in those races, six top fives in his last 19, and a win on the mile-and-a-half tracks. Are you down with him today?
He's fine. He would definitely be my favorite play in the 7K range because I don't really like anybody else. So if I fall in that range, I'm fine with him. He's not a priority for me because I like jamming in the top guys with some of the value we have, but he's definitely viable.
Okay. Who are other guys in that range, I guess, that you're taking a liking to?
Like I said, I hate the 7K range. So
Yeah.
right above it, the 8Ks, Tyler Reddick is definitely a core for me. I love the way that team has been this year at these type of tracks. So I think he has great upside starting 24th, I believe. 20, yeah, 24th. Eric Jones is fine. He's been really good here, but the one thing, I mean, he could go in like a Joe Gibbs stack or a Toyota stack, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I will say is, I mean, he's had some super bad luck, but he is priced back up, is the thing for me. Um, Back up to 8,400. He's fine still. I think I lean Reddick there for sure.
Yes.
And then down in the 6K range for value, Custer is fine. Austin Dillon is a great GPP play, I think. Just kind of going back to that RCR, has been great at these type of tracks this year. Newman is still well underpriced. I mentioned the article. They always say he's like the hardest person to pass. And
Oh yeah.
if it's already hard to pass, I would hate to be behind him. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And then dropping into the 5K range, I'll just mention a guy or two. I don't like much down here. And I don't have to get here with the dominators I'm going with this week, and that's McDowell, and I like John Hunter Nemechek a little bit.
Nemechek's the only one I wasn't really on at this point. I love Austin Dillon. I was kind of looking. I think some people will go with Ty Dillon just because of the place differential upside you get with him. I love the pivot to Austin, who's cheaper. I would say he's in better equipment. He's been better here at this track. Overall, going and looking at where are we here? Austin Dillon, since the return, he is the ninth best average finish on mile-and-a-halfs at 12.0. That is good. Like he's 19th, right? Starting 19th this week. So he's finished 7th,
Austin,
11th,
yeah.
8th, and 15th, and 20th, and 11th at the first Darlington. So top 20s in all of them. top tens. He's been even better lately. Was 7th, 11th, 8th, 2 top tens in his last 3. It's 11th, the other finish. I love Austin Dillon in this range, and I will probably have 0 tie in this race. I agree with you on Custer. Suarez is interesting again, blah, blah, blah. He starts at the back. He's in different equipment. He's got good track history. That track history, most of the track history we see week after week after week now with him is in a Joe Gibbs car. That was when he was with Joe Gibbs. He had some success at Phoenix. He had success on the mile and a half. He just had a lot of success. There's definitely upside there, again, because where he's starting, 37th, I mean, you're looking at a top 20 finish is 41 points. You're looking at like 7, 8x upside with him. He just hasn't been getting it done, like, whatsoever. Like, looking at his mile and a halves, he's pretty much started in the same position every race since the restart, and he's gone 31st, 28th, 29th, 27th, 25th. So, like, 25th has been his upside, and his downside is, like, outside the top 30. So if we look at it from that standpoint and go give him a 25th place finish, looking at the matrix here, that's 30 points. And if that's his upside, that's less than 5x. I don't want that from a value guy. I think Austin Dillon can do better. Cole Custer, Michael McDowell, I'm with you there. Ryan Newman's still too cheap, even though he's starting 23rd. He's got, he's a 15th place driver. Like, that's kind of his floor every week is what I'm looking at from Newman, is 15th place. His upside is probably 5th to 8th, somewhere in there. So at 15th, that's 37 points. I mean, you're looking at like 6x right there. So I'll take that 6x floor over, like a 4x, 3x floor from Suarez, even though Suarez does have more upside. But I just never see Suarez getting inside that top 20 with that equipment.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the guy that track history transitions to a little more is Custer, being in that car this year, starting 29th, is makes him a pretty good play.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you mentioned him, but Corey Lejoy I was kind of liking as well, starting 27th. It's kind of getting in that. Not sure if that's exactly, because he needs more than that. He obviously needs close to 30 points, and that's 21st place finish. So that's more of a GPP pivot. If you're doing like 20 plus lineups and you find you're getting a lot of McDowell and Newman, even upwards of Austin Dillon, I think you can pivot a few to Lejoy. And the reason I was kind of looking at him, I was looking at, he's been around 29th, 27th, 19th, 24th. So he's about somewhere in that range of like 18th to 25th place. I think he can maybe get up inside that top 20 and give you that return. It's like I said, if I'm running 20 lineups, he's like a 1 lineup, maybe 2. Just if I'm maybe finding myself with too much McDowell in there, because I really like McDowell and Austin Dillon, and Ryan Newman would be my 3 favorites in this range, with Newman being the favorite, Dillon, and then McDowell.
Yep, I'm not going to argue with you down here, that's for sure.
Yeah, the only other thing I was going to mention is just your thoughts overall on the Toyota camp, because when I went and searched on the sheet, and I just sorted by track history last 5, and I was filling out the ticker that we see below this video, looking at just average finish last 5 races, lo and behold, you have names like, I want you to see if you can guess the top 4. It doesn't have to be in order, but give me the top 4 drivers and average finish last 5 years if you can.
Last 5 years here?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
2 of them are on our hats. I'll give you that.
Okay. Well,
yeah, it's Kyle Busch.
See.
Definitely.
I would say, Eric Jones is up there because he's had 3, almost top 5 finishes.
So we got 3 of them.
4th, they're not. Can't
Hamlin,
be Toyota,
I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, it is?
4 Toyotas. 4 Toyotas. They're the only 4 in the last 5 races with an average finish under 10. All 4 Toyotas. So I was just like, wow. I know they haven't been the same, but this is a track where Toyota has dominated, literally. There was 1 race in the last 9 where there's been 2 drivers lead 100-plus laps, Kyle and Truex. So a lot of stuff's pointing towards Toyota today. I don't know if ownership's going to go that way just because of current form. So it's more of a GPP play. The whole news thing coming in, that was crazy, first of all. because I was really really high on Truex. I love the price now from a GPP standpoint, being that he is only 9,200. I think he's a top 5 car no matter what. So him starting at the back is just going to take away his dominator points and take away his overall upside. But if he was 10-5, I'd probably be a little bit less exposure on him, but I'm still on Truex. Kyle, I talked about, he's going to be a GPP play for me only just because he's been struggling, but obviously he's got top 5s here in 7 of the last 9, no worse than 12th, and 2 wins here with leads the series in laps led with 621 total here, career. So he's GPP. Eric Jones, love the price, but GPP only for me just because that price is coming up. The track history, I think maybe he's going to get some ownership because of that track history. It's just recently, I guess it all depends on what people are going off. If they go off track history, he's going to be high owned. If they go off recent form, he's probably going to be low owned because he 21st at Homestead, but he was average finish of 15. 28th at Atlanta, average finish of 17th, so 11 spots higher than his finish. Charlotte, 26th, average finish of 19th, so again, 7 spots difference in terms of average run versus where he's finishing. And then Charlotte, he was 12th, average finish of 11th, and then he was a top 5 at Darlington, the second one, and average run of 10th. So he's been running a lot better than he's finishing, so it really just depends on where people are going to go. I think they're going to maybe lean on track history. That's kind of seems like the course history, like for golf, that you get to see a lot of ownership go that way always. I wish it was the other way around because I think he's going to bounce back this race and give us a top 10. But so at 8,400, definitely GPP only. I'm going different way for core, like you had mentioned, Tyler Reddick. That was a driver that I wanted to mention today as well. He's been just absolutely amazing, like above expectations for sure. I think everyone kind of expected maybe, even though Reddick won the championship last year, Bell coming into that equipment with Joe Gibbs was maybe going to be the guy, with Chevy struggling last year. But the 8 car has been amazing. In 8 races, let's just look at his track type history on the mile and a half since the return. 4th, 16th at Atlanta, 14th at Charlotte, 9th at Charlotte 1, 13th at Darlington 2, and 7th at Darlington 1. That's just incredible from a rookie driver. 10.5 average finish, which is 8th best, behind a bunch of elite championship drivers. So definitely on Reddick's core, pivot off with Jones. And then the other guy that we didn't talk about that I want to mention before we go here is a pivot off Kurt Busch down below with Eric Almirola. He is starting where today? I had that written down. A 4th. So it's going to be a GPP play starting 4th. That's obviously dangerous. He's been starting up front quite a bit here recently, actually, and he's got a 12.8 average finish since the return. He's coming off top 5 at Homestead. And, before that, Atlanta and Charlotte, he was around 17th to 20th. That's kind of where he's been running, but he's got top 5 upside. So I like that pivot at very low ownership in maybe like 1 or 2 of my 20 max. And that's pretty much it. Do you have any other drivers that we maybe didn't talk about?
I think I covered all of my pool really. I guess the last 2 guys. What do you think about Jimmy and Byron? Place differential upside, they have it. Starting back in the 20s.
Yeah,
20th and 21st. So I mean that's fine. I don't really like the price, but it's fine for the equipment they're in for sure.
Yeah, no, I probably a little bit more Byron. Just looking at like Jimmy's been fine. He's got a 13.7 average finish since the break, so he hasn't really shown us that upside yet that we've seen kind of maybe earlier in the season. He was second at Charlotte. I guess I was mistaken there. He had a really good race at that first Charlotte race, and then even Darlington 2, he was 8th. Those are his 2 top 10s, along with Atlanta. So you said he's starting where today, Jimmy? I've kind of overlooked him. 20th. Yeah, even at a 10th place finish, that's 44 points. That's kind of right what we need there, I guess, would be a top 10 finish. So he's kind of borderline. He's not going to be a ton of exposure. He's going to be one of the lower exposure guys if I get there. Byron, since the return, has been, a little bit worse. So I've actually liked Jimmy a little bit better. Like he's coming off a 9th place finish. This is Byron now, Homestead. But before that, he was 33rd at Atlanta, out early, 12th at Charlotte, 21st at Charlotte, 12th at Darlington and 35th at Darlington. So it's been very up and down. So again, GPP only for those two guys in that range. But I think with Keselowski, Truex, and Reddick, they're sandwiched right in between those guys. Even Eric Jones. So sandwiched right between those four drivers. I think there's going to be a lot of ownership on them. So I think you can get those Chevy cars really, really cheap with tons of upside. Probably looking at 10% ownership, and their upside, if they're 5th to 10th, is pretty big in terms of return, points per dollar return on DraftKings. So I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, definitely fine GPP play.
For sure. So that takes care of it. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties. One more week, but I'm going to keep practicing with this stuff and get this hammered out a little bit better going into next week. We've got quite a bit of time here. We've got 3 hours to lock. So skeletons will be up in the RotoPros channel here shortly. You can hit us up if you have any questions. Like I said, in the RotoPros Slack chat, you can hit me up in Patreon Slack chat or a DM message, DFSR chat. You can hit us up on Twitter. Mine is at Jaeger_bombs9, and yours is?
Red Stag 007.
Hit us up. Get over to at RotoPros as well. Rotopros.com. Dane's article is up for today. And like I said, ask away any questions. Let's go build some winning lineups and get some green screens, everyone. Good luck out there.